The very first question comes from Lisa Duffy from Our Lady in St Patrick's College of Knock.
How did you manage your stress when you were in charge of Manchester United?
Well, to be honest, I never had too much stress. I never seemed to have too much stress, but I know it can affect people. I've seen it happen to many managers. You see, sometimes they go and manage a club one year and 3 years later you see hair gone grey. So it's a stressful job. It's a result industry, and it can take its toll on people. But I always seem to have a challenge for myself. I was always never thinking about what happened yesterday. I was always thinking about what happened today or tomorrow. I think that's really important to put the past behind you. It's like, for instance, when a tennis player loses a shot at the tennis, the only thing she can do is win the next point. Or a golfer, the only thing you do is win the next hole. Or a footballer, score the next goal. And I think that's an attitude. It's a good attitude to look forward, to forget what's happened there, to go on to the next thing.
If you could give the 13-year-old Alex Ferguson a bit of advice, what would it be?
Well, I think I mentioned it this morning. I think that a practice ethic is very, very important to you. I think that in my experience of some great players, but the thing that made them better was to practice. And also to listen to your coaches. I think it's important. It's a discipline that the best players have a good discipline about them. They're prepared to sacrifice to be the best. And the practice ethic, without doubt, helps you in so many ways. So it's not a bad thing to be able to have a practice ethic. Take time yourself to do it, and I think it'll make a difference to you.
The third question has been recorded by Conal MacDonald, who's aged 11, and he's from the Holy Family Primary School.
Sir Alex, what makes a brilliant footballer?
There's two areas there. I think there's players who are born natural, like Ryan Giggs with George Best. They were just naturals, absolutely. They were born to be great players. A lot of players are manufactured. In other words, they practice to get to where they are. And they're aided by good coaches, and they're aided by good teammates, and they're aided by their own discipline. But there's nothing wrong with that, to be manufactured to be a great player. But there's no doubt that the ones who are absolutely born and talented, that they're rarities. They are rarities. Most players practice really hard. They work hard to get where they are, and I think that is probably the difference between both. But either way, is the right way.
And again, from the Holy Family Primary School, we now have Maya McGuigan and Thomas McGee, who are 11 and 10.
How down did you get when you lost a big game, and how did you make yourself feel better?
Most people who know me say I was better in adversity. In other words, when I lost a game, I was looking for the solutions right away. I couldn't wait until tomorrow to have the players in again to reinforce what the expectation I had in them. So I had that in me to fight my corner in terms of I was not going to let the defeat bow me. I was going to move on. I was going to be better the next day. I was looking for solutions to understand why we lost the game, because it was a big area to understand why you lost the game. Because when you're a footballer, you don't really think about what a manager thinks. You play your game, you go back home, you go out with your pals, whatever. Meanwhile, the manager's at home wondering why he's lost a game and having to find a solution to why they lost the game. And that is a really important part of a manager, to find the solutions. But the most important thing is to be yourself, get out of your bed in the morning, prove your work ethic, get the players and to remind them of the expectation. And most things, particularly with Manchester United, most things evolved around the training session. There was not a happier place than the training ground in Manchester United, because that's where all the results stem from. Whatever we did in the training session manifested itself on a Saturday. And that was what we did. Get back to the training, remind them of their expectation, remind them what losing really means to Manchester United and them, So that's the way we set about it.
What about your players? Were some really sad after getting beaten in a big game? If so, how did you motivate them again?
Nobody likes to lose a game of football, that's without question. And particularly, for instance, in a cup final or a real important game. For instance, I don't know if you maybe remember this, we lost the league to Sunderland 1-0. In actual fact, we were champions for 30 seconds until we learned that City had scored in the last Fergie time. And the dressing room was not a happy place. The players were down. Everyone was disappointed. The directors were in the dressing room also. And I said to them, "You're going to walk out that door, and if you're going to do an interview, what you're going to tell the interviewer is you're going to win the league next year." Now that's an attitude. That's the way we approached it. For instance, we were second 6 times in my time in Manchester United. 6 times, and we won the league next year. That's the attitude. That's the character that was developed in Manchester United by everyone. Put the feet behind us, work tomorrow, and win the league next year. And that's what we did. And we watched that, as we told the players that day in the dressing room at Sunderland. 1-0, or coach, we actually could have scored a few goals, but I think they all kept looking at the bench to find the score at City. And of course, we're 2-1 down with 3 minutes to go. Anyway, they won the league next year. They proved themselves, they showed themselves, and they handled it very, very well.
Did newspapers get you annoyed? And if so, how did you deal with that?
2 things with newspapers. When I went to Aberdeen at first, they had a successful manager before me, and they got to the final of the Scottish Cup, were second in the league. So they had a good season, and they went to Celtic. I replaced them at Aberdeen, and at the beginning things weren't great because he believed in a certain way of playing. I believed in a different way of playing. Every manager's different. They've all the different philosophies. And then with the local press were given a sort of a bit of a hard time. And our chairman was a fantastic man. You couldn't meet a better chairman than Dick Donald. And he always come in at lunchtime. He'd come in for his lunch with the players and myself and that. And he says, "How's things, Mr. Ferguson?" I said, "Oh, well," I says, "that press and journal have been giving me a hard time." He says, "Really?" He says, "Why did I bring you here?" I says, "Well, obviously you thought I could do the job." He says, "Correct," and he walked away. So that was a lesson about, he never bothered about the press, so why should I? But then when I went to United, it was a massive club. It's the biggest in the world. There was a period when we went whole December, we never won a game. And we weren't with a lot of players injured, etc., etc. And I spoke to Mark Busby about this. And Mark Busby says, "I never read the papers when we lost. Why would you want to read the papers when you lost?" So I depended on my PA, Diane Law, whose father's Dennis Law, and she would go through all the papers and tell me what I needed to know. So that's how I dealt with it. Now in the press conferences, I learned from what was mentioned today about Peter Doherty, who was a great manager, a great Northern Ireland footballer. His son was run Granada Sports, and he told me that I should get into a press conference ready, prepared. Sometimes with the early days, I was getting shown my anxiety. He says, "Rub your face, wash your face, and get in and make sure it's your press conference." From that moment on, it was Alex Ferguson's press conference. So when a press guy asked me a difficult question, I stared at him like that. So that's the way I handled it. I'm not saying it always works with them because they'll still write what they want to write. At least I didn't know about it.
Great. Can I ask you one last question? In your opinion, over your whole career, who's the greatest footballer to come out of Northern Ireland?
Well, I think Best. The thing about Best, I mean, you've some great players. Nolan Weiss was a fantastic player. The thing about George Best was always impressed me. I don't know exact weight he was. He couldn't have been any more than 10 stone 7. And yet it was a waif He's built with that. And yet, I don't know if you ever see videos of him, he never shirked a tackle. He was as brave as a lion, and when he get kicked, he'd go up right away and give me the ball. That's courage. That's the courage you want to see in a footballer. In other words, he's going to say what he's saying to the opponents: "You will not kick me off the pitch. I'm George Best." And an incredible courage. I think it's important. And although that you always associate him with being a great attacker and whatever, but one of his earliest games was against Scotland at Windsor Park, and he tackled with a line that day. And Tommy Gemmell was the left back for Scotland, who just died recently. And Tommy was an attacking fullback, and George kept going back and winning the ball off him and then attacking. So at half time, he came in at half time, Tommy Gemmell, he says to Eddie McCready, who's also a left back but played right back, he says, "Eddie, do you want to change positions with me?" He said, "Bugger off."
So Alex, thank you very much. That's been great. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you.